I don't have to remind you of her. She was a Category 5 hurricane. She swept her way through a city bursting with life and stripped it down to devastation. I don't have to remind you of that devastation. I don't have to remind you of the grief she brought upon families, the lives she took, the ruin she left. But I will remind you. This is a chair. I found it on the side of someone's lawn days after a flood in my city, Lafayette, Louisiana. It was meant to be thrown away. It was considered useless and decrepit, a product of natural disaster. But I didn't think it should end that way for this chair. I took it home and gave it a new life. Thousands of homes were left astray from Hurricane Katrina, many irreparable. People's belongings were destroyed, the aftermath left on the lawn as a reminder of the devastation. But with this devastation came something beautiful. People came together. A community formed with a mission to rebuild and restore the pride these cities once had. To help restore the life that once was. People's lives were left in shambles and seemingly irreparable. But Katrina proved that nothing is irreparable. When people choose to look past the shadow of devastation, past the haunting reality of a situation, a brighter future is always present. A future that, with the will and work of others, can easily be unveiled. So while this is just a chair, it holds a much heavier meaning. This chair was a victim of the flood, a victim of natural disaster. But I gave it hope. I refused to let it be a victim, but instead a survivor. Just as hundreds of people saved those surviving homes, I gave this chair a fresh start. I gave it a chance. I don't have to remind you that nothing broken cannot be mended. I don't have to remind you that when we come together, we can make so much happen. I don't have to remind you that it shouldn't take a tragedy to do so. I don't have to remind you that ruined is just a mindset. I don't have to remind you that no work done is a waste of time. I don't have to remind you that it truly does take one person, one action, to make a change. I don't have to remind you, but I will. Now that I've reminded you, don't forget.